Nintendo started sharing new Breath of the Wild screenshots and other content on their Zelda Facebook account. I thought this would be a good excuse to start a new video series, where I quickly go through the latest Zelda news and see what I can find. You're watching Zelda Pot Smashers. First up, there was a silly rumor earlier this week that the Wii U version of Breath of the Wild had been cancelled. The source was very dubious and none of the big news sites reported about it. So I hope not too many people fell for it. Nintendo showed the Wii U version just a few weeks ago. I think they would rather release the game with a bad frame rate or lower resolution than not release it at all. So I wouldn't worry just yet. On Friday, Nintendo released some concept art for Breath of the Wild. Apparently they wanted Link to be blue in a pretty early stage of development. I wonder if that has anything to do with Link's blue outfit in the Wind Waker. Even the graphical style is very Toon Link-ish, especially the one on the right. And see these patterns here? Very similar to the lobster pattern in the Wind Waker. If it wouldn't be pretty much impossible to place in the timeline, I'd say they started out the game as a sequel to the Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass. Also interesting to note, the bow is very prominent in this concept art, so it looks like more emphasis on bow gameplay was their plan all along. Alright, onto the screenshot released on Thursday. It reminds us of the autumn footage we saw earlier. It could in fact be the same area. There's a shrine here in the distance. At first I didn't see the snowflakes, but here they are. They are easier to see if I change the colors a bit. This must mean that the area is rather chilly, but not cold enough for snow to stay on the ground or trees. Together with the color of the trees, it looks like a boreal forest, like the ones you'd see in Canada, Russia, etc. Fellow analyst EngineeringHyrule has done some research and he thinks he has found the location of this forest. Now, I'm not too interested in where everything is, partly because I want to be surprised when I finally get to play the game. But I'll put a link to his analysis picture and post in the description below, so check out his work if you're interested. There are two things about the location that do interest me. He thinks this is east on the map, close to the snowy area. And Link would be looking east. I think we might be looking at the border of Hyrule here. We know that an ocean forms the border on two sides of the map, but what about the other two sides? One thing we've been wondering about is how Nintendo will keep us in Hyrule. The map also suggests a steep change in altitude. Perhaps this wall will be unscalable, like the walls inside the shrines. We cannot see if Link has the Sheikah Slate here, which is a shame because of one theory. People were thinking that the autumn forest from the Game Awards trailer could be a scene from the past, like 100 years ago. But we also theorized that any scene of Link without the Sheikah Slate would be from the past. And now here we see Link in this autumn area and we cannot see if he has the Sheikah Slate. So we also can't theorize if this is perhaps a scene from the past. I do have to notice that Link doesn't have the Master Sword here, but just a regular sword that we did see in a lot of gameplay. Either way, to me this doesn't look like it's a cutscene. With this shot, Nintendo practically promises us that we will explore this area. At least that's how I feel. Then the question is, will there be a season changing system in the game or not? It's a bit hard to see, but the trees on those hills far away seem to have a normal green color. So maybe this specific area is in a permanent state of autumn because it's so close to the snow area? Obviously that makes no sense in real life, but perhaps Nintendo felt this was the way to go. Games like World of Warcraft have areas where it's always fall, even though that makes no sense. A different color scheme just keeps the world varied and pretty. And while I still think a real season system would be amazing, I will quickly forgive Nintendo if autumn is limited to just one or two areas. Then as a bonus we got some new shield surfing footage. At first I thought the snowboard tricks were a new addition to the game, but I found some E3 footage where Link did the same thing. I wonder what button we have to use for that, because it doesn't look like it's the jump button. Maybe it's crouching, which would be clicking the left stick. Either way, it looks great. And what also amazes me is that this is just the tiny mountain on the Great Plateau. Imagine the fun when we get to the real snowy area, because that place is huge. I loved the two 1080° snowboarding games on N64 and GameCube, but those only had set paths that you had to follow, which was normal back in the day, because every snowboarding game did it like that. But this is a more open world approach, where you choose your own path. Will there be minigames or races from point A to B? And how about an online high score system, where you can try to beat the best time of your friends? One of the few non-Nintendo games that excite me at the moment is Ubisoft's Steep. It's an open world snowboarding, skiing and paragliding game. I hope they will bring this game to the Switch, because it looks like a lot of fun. But even if they don't, at least we'll have the snowboarding and paragliding here in Breath of the Wild. I will try to do a short weekly analysis video for the things Nintendo will feed us. Meanwhile, I'm still working on the final part of the Game Awards analysis, so stay tuned for that. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thanks for watching Zelda Pot Smashers.